Property Tribes TV, catching up with a very well-known face in the property arena, and that is Paul Shamplina from Landlord Action. So welcome,
Hi,
Paul.
Vanessa.
I've been trying to catch up with you for ages, but you're so busy. What's going on at Landlord Action?
Oh, what is going on? We're now in our 11th year. We could now fill a football stadium up with problem tenants. We've done over 19,000 instructions in 11 years.
Wow.
We're running about 250 live instructions at a time for landlords, letting agent, housing associations, dealing with their problem tenants, and obviously, as you know, we offer fixed fees and a free advice line. So in doing that, obviously I do a lot of media stuff, as you well know, and do a lot of public speaking. So yeah, generally pretty busy all over the place.
And educational seminars.
And we do educational seminars, which I launched with Kate Faulkner, Landlord Action branded, where what we're doing is one day about property investment, property management, A to Z, tell you how it is, with some fantastic stats, and Kate's brilliant, who obviously she writes for the Witch book on property investment, and we don't sell anything. There's no properties, no mortgages, nothing, and we have all different levels of would-be investors and actually experienced investors that come along. So yeah, we're planning to do a whole host of those next year as well.
And are you finding in these challenging economic times that more tenants are starting to default on their rent payments?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you know, the unemployment issue is what was 2.5 million people unemployed. You know, it's, you know, a tenant, and also landlords really struggling. Well, landlords are less tolerant nowadays. They're acting a lot quicker. So you know, we're having landlords that will push the button as soon as there's half a month or 1 month, and there is serve a notice. I want to give the tenant a jolt. But you've got to realise, you know, utilities are more expensive, wages have been frozen, people are losing jobs. You know, it is quite tough, and of course rents have gone up as well. You know, but as a landlord, I mean, you know, there's only a small proportion of cases that do go wrong, you know, and of course I do my seminars and I tell landlords of that. But I don't think there's ever been a better time to be a landlord. I mean, you know, there's 1.2 million landlords in this country. We reckon that the private rental sector is going to increase to 20% from 15% in the year 2020. You know, there's a social housing shortage. There's you know, a 5 to 25 year waiting list for council houses, and councils, you know, and the government are building less. You know, the banks aren't lending to build for developers to rent. So I think that that's more so social housing, the governments and whatever, they're going to be more reliant on landlords. I know there's caps with the housing benefit system with the LHA, which, you know, they've tried to bring the rents down, especially in more affluent areas, more so in London. But I think there's some great opportunities there, and it is a fact that the next generation now will be renters. We're going to be much more in line with what's happening in Europe. I also have another business in Spain where I do rental protection for landlords in Europe, which is called Paragon Advance España. And even in Germany alone, 70% are renters. So I know recently there was a survey by Halifax that they did a survey of 3,000 tenants. 95% of those tenants said that they can't afford to save for a deposit. You know, so they are going to have to rent. You know, you've got an average age of 37 for a first-time buyer. People can't afford those deposits.
No,
so
absolutely.
It's a great time to be a landlord.
I think it is, and also, you know, it's a bad time to be a landlord when you do have the misfortune to encounter a delinquent tenant. And I think it would be true to say that you can't go through an entire property career and not come across a bad tenant once. Your whole kind of stance and ethics with Landlord Action is to be very matter-of-fact about it, strip the emotion away, tell it like it is. And that's what I found a real support when I had a delinquent tenant and I phoned your free helpline.
Well, it is. I mean, it is. You know, the reason I set Landlord Action up was a free advice line, fixed fees, because obviously lawyers were charging hourly rates. I mean, I set the business up in '99. And you know, we tell it how it is with landlords, because of course we have all different types of landlords. We have very experienced landlords that belong to landlord associations, investors, we have amateur landlords, accidental landlords. We turn around and say, right, this is the process. Worst case scenario, it could take you 5 months and possibly £1,000 to evict this tenant. How can you afford to pay your mortgage every single month for 5 months? Can you afford to pay the maintenance charges? Are you geared up? And unfortunately, some of the amateur landlords that didn't think about that and possibly got into property in the last 3-4 years were looking at short-term growth and not buy-to-let as a long-term growth. and yields and so forth. And they're the ones that don't have a B plan, and they're the ones, and I reckon now at Landlord Action I could easily find 20-25 cases where we know of landlords that are in mortgage arrears. And I know there's 3 cases alone where I've had to contact the building society and the banks to actually try and bide more time, because we're actually doing eviction at the same court that the property's been repossessed at, and it's wasting its time. So it's tough, you know, but you know, small minority of cases go wrong. If you do get a problem tenant, it's, you know, you've got to learn by it
and act quickly.
And act quickly. And the great thing that I'm launching, which is great, and it could be good for your members, is that we're launching in the next 2 weeks referencing and rent protection, Landlord Action, and I do the eviction at the back end. So the landlord will get their rent every single month after they pass the referencing until vacant possession. And obviously they can afford to pay the mortgage. And I've had to bring that out really for more so for popular demand. So
brilliant.
We're launching that next 2 weeks.
Just final question, something that I wrote about in my blog recently was that I believe that tenants are using the web to educate themselves about landlord law and becoming more savvy of how to buck the system. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I think that's very true. I think that because we also get some rogue landlords that contact us at Landlord Action that don't do any maintenance issues to the property, and quite rightly the tenant should defend and counterclaim the case at court. Tenants have got the power of information on the web. They can get legal advice, they can go to shelter, CAB, or even get legal aid. So, you know, tenants know their rights. The days of, you know, going back 20 years ago where you could throw the tenant stuff out in the street, they're well and truly over, because, you know, you'll be prosecuted, you'll get an injunction made against you, and it's very costly. We had one landlord that was fined £10,000 that did that, and we couldn't get them out. You know, it was a nightmare case. So, you know, you've got to realise your tenants know the rights, and if you're a decent landlord, you know, you'll know about the rules, you'll have an EPC certificate, you know, you'll put the deposit in the deposit scheme, you'll make sure the property's up to rentable standard, and you'll run it like a business, and you'll be, more importantly, you'll realise that you are a professional landlord and you are in business. And you need to take away the emotional side of it, and don't get a disease called landlord rage.
Well, that is music to my ears, Paul, because that's exactly how, you know, Nick and I think, and we try and encourage everybody on Property Tribes to adopt a professional attitude and treat it like a business, because at the end of the day you are dealing with people's lives, you have obligations, you have compliance, and if you don't cross the T's and dot the I's, you can become severely unstuck.
Without a doubt.
And I'm sure you see people like that every day.
All the time. Come to my office for a day and you'll hear it.
It must be very interesting. So thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see Paul at the Property Investor Show at Excel as well. This has been Paul Shamplina of Landlord Action, the landlord's friend, and thank you, Paul, for everything that you do for the property community, because I know you provide a very valued service and you help out in times of a lot of stress. And I am speaking from having used your service myself, and I hope in the nicest possible way I don't have to use it again.
Exactly. No news is good news.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Property Tribes TV.